Hello, I'm Rianne, and welcome to our third podcast in the series on recycling. And with me are Sam and Maya to answer today's question, can we live without plastic? Maya?
I don't think we can live without it. Plastic can be really useful sometimes, but we can definitely use less, and we all need to get better at reusing plastic. Like the other day, I found a pair of my old boots in the garden. My mum was reusing them to grow flowers in. I think they actually look quite cool. And I think we can buy things that we can reuse instead of using once, like reusable pens and pencils. And yeah, I decided never to buy bottled water again. So I've got a really cool drinks bottle, and I take it everywhere, and I just reuse it. We can all make changes like that. So try to reuse plastic, maybe for something different. And if you can't do that, then recycle it.
I'm sorry, I really don't agree. We have to stop using plastic, full stop. And I think there are two reasons. One, only about 9% of plastic is ever recycled. And two, getting oil to make plastic really damages the planet. So, if we stop making new plastic, we stop damaging the planet. There are lots of materials, like wood for toothbrushes, paper or metal for cups, which are easier to recycle, and we don't have to damage the planet to use them. You know, lots of our clothes originally come from plastic too. Most supermarkets don't give plastic bags anymore, so why are we still buying plastic clothing? I believe we have to make big changes. My whole family now only buys clothes made from natural materials. Look, this jumper is really soft. And here's another really easy one. How about changing from plastic chewing gum to natural gum? Better for your stomach and for the planet.
Another thing that's worth seeing this week is Pollution Pods, an art exhibition by Michael Pinsky. With Pollution Pods, you go on a journey through 5 cities in different parts of the world. Pinsky presents each city in a separate dome, which looks like a big tent with a round roof. When you walk into the dome, you can feel the temperature and also smell the air of this city. Some are hot and wet, others are cold and dry. Of course, it was impossible to bring the real air from these places, so Pinsky worked with a group of chemists and perfume makers, and together they created the smell of the cities. The first dome has the cleanest air. It's Tortra, an island in the north of Norway. It's the only place where it's safe to breathe. All other domes let you smell the air in big cities. First, there's London. When you walk inside, you notice it's foggy and grey. It also smells horrible, like car pollution. Then you move to New Delhi, India, which is one of the most polluted cities in the world. The air smells like burnt plastic. It's difficult to stay there and breathe for a long time. The next dome takes you to Beijing, China, in November. The air has the smell of wood and coal, which people burn to heat their homes. There's also a smell of smoke from factories. The last dome is Sao Paulo, Brazil. There's the smell of car pollution too. Inside the dome, my eyes immediately get red and I almost start to cry. It's because there's a lot of ozone in the air, which hurts your eyes and your throat. We all hear how bad the air pollution is, but this exhibition lets you see it or smell it for yourself. You can feel what it's like to live in the places where the air is so polluted that it can make you sick. New Delhi or Beijing are just examples. In fact, more than 92% of people live in places where air isn't safe for them. At the end of the exhibition, you can see a list of 6 simple things you can do for the environment. Don't buy so many clothes, eat less meat, use electric cars, buy local food, recycle, and care for the planet. When we do some of them, the air can get better.
Hi, Grandpa. You won't believe what happened. On Monday, our school eco club talked to the town authorities about the seed bombing project we wanted to do. They loved our idea.
That's wonderful. But what's seed bombing?
It's a project which helps to plant new trees and flowers in the places where not many of them grow.
What a great idea. But how exactly does it work?
First, you have to make seed bombs. These are little balls made of different plant seeds and some earth. Then you throw these balls and hope to see new plants soon. Our school club wanted to use seed bombs to plant flowers near the old factories on Market Street. This place looks quite ugly, so we met with the town authorities and they said we could do it.
Great news.
Well, yeah. We were very excited to make these seed bombs. On Wednesday, we were ready. We had 100 seed bombs. We went on Market Street, but when we were throwing them, the police came. They thought we were throwing rocks at the windows.
Oh no, that's terrible. Were you in big trouble?
Kind of. We were really scared. They took us to the police station.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Did you tell them about the meeting with the town authorities?
Yes. We were trying to explain, but they didn't believe us.
Oh, what a disaster.
Then we called our teacher and he brought the document that we got from the town authorities. The police apologised and said we could go home. The next day, a local newspaper came to school and asked us about the seed bombs. They wrote an article about us. We also got a prize for helping the environment.
How fantastic. Have you got this article somewhere here? I have to read it. I'm so proud of you.
On today's programme, we're talking about unusual weather. Our guest is Professor Alice Barnes, who writes about natural disasters, including earthquakes, hurricanes, heat waves, and more. Today, Alice is talking about hurricanes. Good morning, Alice. Welcome to the programme.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Professor, what is the worst experience of a hurricane that you can remember?
Well, my worst hurricane experience was also my first experience. It was more than 30 years ago when I was a child. It was 1989 and I was in the Caribbean with my parents. We were visiting my aunt.
How did you prepare?
My aunt knew exactly what to do. We bought enough food and water for a few days. Then we put wood over the windows and brought outdoor objects inside.
What was it like before the storm?
Well, it was very strange. I remember it was a beautiful day until around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Then everything changed. The wind blew strongly all night and all day, and we were very, very frightened.
What did you do while you were waiting for the storm to end?
We stayed inside, listened to the radio, played games, and ate food. That was the best bit, all the food. My aunt is a brilliant cook. On the first night, I was very tired, but
I couldn't sleep. The wind was so noisy.
When did you leave the house?
We stayed inside for 2 days. On the 3rd day, we went out to check that my aunt's friends were okay. It was a terrible sight. Buildings had no roofs. Trees and plants lay everywhere. My aunt's friends were frightened like us, but luckily they weren't hurt. After that, we stayed with my aunt for another week and helped her clear up before we went home.
Wow, Dan, you're eating salad. Are you okay?
Yeah, look, the first tomatoes from our school eco-food club.
How fantastic!
No, what a disaster.
What do you mean?
Well, we decided to start with the easy things. You know, potatoes, carrots, tomatoes. But it was a very wet winter and nothing grew.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and when the carrots finally started growing, the rabbits ate half of them.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah, and now in the summer, I have to carry water from school every day. But at least I'm fitter, I suppose.
Great news.
Yeah, but last month I failed 2 of my exams because I was so busy in the garden.
Oh no, I'm sure your parents aren't very happy about that. Poor you.
No, but they are happy to see me eating more healthy food. They also like the idea of local food, so they're going to give us some gardening tools and containers to collect rainwater next year.
That sounds amazing.
Hello, and welcome to Science Alive on the 21st of December, the shortest day of the year. The sun came up at just after 7 o'clock, and it'll go down before 4. The sun's really important in our lives, but we don't really know very much about it. So, today we've got Dr. Andrea Thornton from London University in the studio to take some of your questions. Good morning, Dr. Thornton.
Good morning.
Could you tell us something about the sun?
Well, it is 4.6 billion years old, and it's quite a small star. Some stars are 1,000 times bigger. The diameter of the sun is 1.4 million kilometres.
Where is it in the universe?
We're in a galaxy called the Milky Way, 4.2 light-years from our nearest neighbour. That's a long way. It would take hundreds of years to get there in a spaceship.
And how does the sun actually produce energy?
Well, a process of fusion takes place. That's when 2 hydrogen atoms join together, which creates a lot of heat. The temperature on the surface of the sun is 6,000 degrees centigrade and 14 million degrees at the centre.
So, how does the sun affect us on Earth?
Well, we get radiation from the sun, and that creates life through a process called photosynthesis. With the sun's energy, plants use carbon dioxide to grow, and they produce oxygen that we breathe.
What about our health? Is the sun good for us or bad for us?
Well, 85% of skin cancer is caused by the sun, but if you take care of your skin, if you put on sun cream, the sun is good for you.
How?
It gives us vitamin D, and that's good for our bones and our immune system. You can take vitamin pills, but the sun's much better.
And it makes you feel good too, doesn't it?
Yes, when you don't get enough sun, you feel down. Some people even get depression because of too little sun. For example, people working in offices all day without ever taking a break outside.
So, we need to get outside, take a walk, take part in some sort of outdoor activity.
That's right.
One last question. What about energy from the sun? How can we take advantage of it?
Well, the sun produces thousands of times more energy than we need. Green groups say we need to take action now on solar energy. According to Greenpeace, at least 25% of our energy will be solar by the year 2050.
That'd be great. Thank you very much, Dr. Thornton.
Not at all.
Hey, Ruby, have you seen all those new bike lanes in the centre?
Yes, I have.
But bike lanes are great, don't you think so?
No, I don't, Tim. There's less room for cars now.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it?
No, it isn't. Bike lanes are like those horrible road humps. They slow everything down. Now there'll just be more traffic jams and more pollution. I don't think that's a very good thing.
Neither do I, but bike lanes are good. I mean, I think people should cycle more, don't you?
Yes, I think so too, if they want to. But people like their cars because they're nice and comfortable.
That's true, but people need to get out of their cars and start walking and cycling.
How can you get people to do that?
Well, a congestion charge would make people drive less and reduce traffic.
I'm not so sure.
Well, I think it would be good.
I don't. It'd be okay for rich people who can pay it, but not for everybody else.
But they've got to do something. The pollution is terrible in this city, and it's really bad for people's health. Don't you agree?
Yes, I do. But cars are just more convenient than public transport. And the buses aren't very good round here, are they?
No, they aren't.
Especially at night.
Well, with the money from a congestion charge, they could improve the buses. And with less traffic, people will walk and cycle more. They'll be healthier too.
Not in this city with all the pollution. I like cycling, but I never cycle in the centre because of the smog. And it's dangerous too.
But if fewer people use their cars, the pollution won't be so bad and it'll be safer. It's not that bad anyway. I use my bike all the time.
But you don't go into the centre every day, do you?
No, but... Oh, Ruby, I give up. You're so negative and pessimistic.
No, I'm not.
There you are. You disagree with everything I say.
No, I don't.
Well, I think you just...
I'm on my way to Lane Cove, where between 20 and 30 whales have come ashore and can't get back out to sea again. When I get to Lane Cove, I'm meeting Sam Collins from the Marine Life Service. I'm going to help Sam and a team of local people to try and save these whales. Okay, I've just arrived and talked to Sam. It's quite cold, so I think I'll change into my wetsuit before going down onto the beach to work with other people who've come here to help these whales. So far, about 50 people have turned up and more are coming. If more people come, we'll have a chance of succeeding. So, I'm in a team of 4 people and we're looking after just one poor whale. Sam says it's female, and what we've done is we've covered her with wet towels and we're pouring buckets of water over her to keep her cool. We have to be careful where we put the towels. If we cover her blowhole, she won't be able to breathe. Sam says our whale's in good condition and he thinks she'll survive. The tide's coming in soon. I'm going to help dig up sand around the whale to make a hole. When the water comes in, it'll fill up the hole. Better get going. Yes! Success! The tide came in. Our whale floated again. There were about 5 of us. We pushed and she fought back a bit. Then she took off. What a great feeling. She's swimming back out to sea. I think she's going to be okay.
One.
I live in Zambia, and we have fantastic river systems here. I love rafting on the Zambezi River. It's one of the best whitewater runs in the world. On my very first trip, we had a real surprise. We were coming down fast from a section of rapids, and we could see calm water ahead. Then I saw a big hippo near the riverbank. It's best to avoid hippos if you can. We started paddling away quickly because it was coming towards us. We were going around a small island in the middle of the river when suddenly...
2. I began diving when I was about 12. I actually learned to dive on holiday in Mexico. My parents went there to explore the underground lakes, or cenotes. My brother and I were sitting around on the beach getting bored, so we took a diving course. Then we did our first dive in the easy cenotes while my parents were exploring the dangerous stuff. It wasn't deep underground, and the sun was shining in through an opening in the roof of the cave. It was really calm and beautiful. I felt like staying there all day. I was concentrating on doing everything right. I didn't notice that I was swimming. Now, you may remember seeing the name Bundanoon in the news headlines a while ago. Bundanoon is a small town near Sydney, Australia. It has its own supply of water from an underground water reserve. Some years ago, the residents of the town discovered that a water company had applied for permission to extract this water, bottle it, and sell it as drinking water. We spoke to Bundanoon resident Pauline Tiller earlier this week about what happened next. Pauline, why didn't you want this water company to go ahead with their plans?
Basically, because we were drinking the water in our homes, direct from our taps. We didn't want to buy bottled water, especially when it was already our own town's water supply.
And how did you get involved in the story?
Well, I was using an old newspaper to mop up a water leak one morning when something in the paper caught my attention. I stopped and read this astonishing letter Hugh Kingston had written about banning bottled water.
Hugh Kingston is a local businessman in Bundanoon, is that right?
Yes. He had come up with this revolutionary idea. He wanted the town to fight the water company, and he also wanted us to ban bottled water completely. As soon as I read his letter, I knew that was the answer.
And what did you do next?
A few residents got together to investigate how we could go bottled water free. At that time, we didn't know we were pioneers. While we were looking for information, we heard about another Australian town that had gone plastic bag free. This really encouraged and inspired us. Then we found out that the carbon footprint of bottled water is 300 times greater than tap water. It became obvious that bottled water is a crazy idea. So we had a town meeting to discuss the whole thing, and the town decided to become bottled water free.
And I believe journalists from a national newspaper arrived while you were holding the meeting.
Yes. A lot of national and international newspapers had heard about our story. After they wrote about us, we got a lot of support from environmental movements. And in September 2009, we became the first bottled water-free town in Australia.
So you banned bottled water. But now, what do people, visitors to the town, for example, do if they want to get a drink of water?
All the water in our town is free, so you can get it from the tap. And if you want to take some water with you, our shops sell our own Bundanoon reusable bottles.
Good morning. Our guest on Earth Matters today is Peter Jenkins of the Rainforests Society. Good morning, Peter, and thank you for taking a break from your work to come and talk to us. We'll be taking questions from listeners later on, but first, what exactly is a rainforest?
Good morning, Michelle. Thank you for having me. To answer your question, a rainforest is a forest which gets at least 200 centimetres of rain a year.
And how big are they?
Well, they cover 2% of the Earth's surface, which is 6% of all the land. The biggest rainforest is the Amazon in South America, which produces 20% of the world's oxygen. That's why rainforests are so important. They take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and give us oxygen.
And they are home to lots of animals and plants.
That's right. Scientists have found about 250,000 species of plants in the world, and 170,000 of these are from rainforests. 50% of all species live in rainforests. I can give you an example. In Europe, there are 321 species of butterfly. In one national park in Peru, there are 1,300 species of butterfly.
Amazing.
It is. They are amazing places.
But there are problems. I know you have taken action to save the rainforests. Why are they so important?
For a number of reasons. Deforestation leads to the extinction of species. Scientists think that about 137 species disappear every day. The second problem is the effect on climate change because of the extra carbon dioxide. Thirdly is the water cycle effect. Water goes from the ground into the trees and then into the atmosphere. When the forests disappear, this process stops and the rain stops. That's when desertification starts and the land is no use for anything. Finally, the rainforests are home to local people who we can learn from.
What kinds of things?
People living in rainforests know a lot about the plants there. They can help us to find plants that we can use. Do you know that 25% of the medicines we use are from rainforest ingredients?
Really?
Yes, and although we eat about 200 different kinds of fruit from rainforests, people living there eat about 2,000 different kinds.
So why are they disappearing? Why don't governments take more care of them?
Again, there are a number of reasons. The wood from the trees is worth a lot of money. A lot of land is used for farming, although it isn't good land. And after a few years, nothing will grow there anymore, so the farmers have to destroy more forest. In countries like India, people need more land to live on because the country is so crowded.
Thank you very much. We're now going to start taking questions. The number is...
And now, at 8:05 here on Breakfast Television, it's time for our weather report from Samantha Sweet. Good morning, Sam.
Hello, Charlie. And good morning to all of you watching. As usual, everything depends on where you live this morning. Some of you will be luckier than others. We've got everything. Rain, heavy snowfall, freezing conditions, but sunshine too. Right, so let's start with the southwest of the country. As you can see from the chart, it started quite cold, about 3 degrees centigrade. But it'll warm up as the day goes on, reaching about 8 degrees by the afternoon. It's going to be cloudy with sunny periods, I think. But it's going to be a cold night, though, down below freezing. About -1, I should think, so be warned. In the southeast, things are much the same, though not quite as warm as in the southwest. But I don't expect temperatures to fall below freezing tonight. That's because of a warmer breeze coming in from the channel. In the middle of the country, things are a bit more confused. Right now it's about 5 degrees centigrade. Cloudy and with some light rain. But that situation is going to change as the day goes on, and by the end of the day it will probably be raining quite heavily, and the rain will continue through the night, only easing up tomorrow morning. But don't expect much dry weather in the next few days. Things aren't quite so bad in Wales and the west. Here the rain will gradually die away in the late afternoon, so people can expect quite a dry night. Though tomorrow looks like being a day of scattered showers. Up the east coast of the country in the north and further north into Scotland, it's pretty cold already, as anyone there knows. It's about -2 degrees centigrade, with heavy cloud, but that should go up to about 1 degree during the morning. But the outlook doesn't look good. Expect some snow by midday, starting quite light, but gradually increasing so that by the evening it will be heavy, with blizzard-like conditions on the roads, so do be careful. In fact, the police have just issued advice to motorists not to travel at all unless their journey is absolutely necessary. Temperatures tonight will drop to about -6 degrees. And what of tomorrow? As I said, in the middle of the country, it's going to be wet and cloudy, scattered showers with the occasional burst of heavier rainfall. In the north and east, people should settle in for a cold spell with more snowfall over the next few days. Not quite so bad in the south and west, though. Here there will be some sunshine, when it isn't raining, that is. And that's the end of this morning's forecast. Charlie?
Thanks, Sam. By the way, you won't be worried about the weather for the next few days, will you?
No, Charlie, I won't. I'm off on holiday to the sunny Caribbean this afternoon for 10 days.
Well, have a nice time, Sam. We'll miss you. And now back to our main news story this morning. The Prime Minister has announced that he will be resigning.